Austin's plotting a comedy rebellion. Welcome to the Anti-Kill Tony show.
I'm the #1 thing in comedy, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for me.
Red band. Tony really loves wrestling and emulates Vince McMahon and WrestleMania in comedy form.
Like when he was doing like Hans, you had a bad set, next week you're fighting for your spot. All the regulars should be like that. But don't just bring another black guy to replace a black guy.
I don't think there's all dumb comedians on Kill Tony. I think that's a generalized statement. I've seen a lot of really great comedy on Kill Tony. Jeselnik says what we all think about Hinchcliffe. He is a troll, basking in the shadow of Joe Rogan. There's way more people that have way less talent that want to play the game, whereas I think the people that care about the craft don't care about the game. They care about the craft.
Oh, what? Oh, red band. Red band.
Move it, do it, go ahead.
Something me and Dante have been cooking up week to week in these comedy streets. Dante and myself head into the stand-up comedy boards on Reddit or any part of comedy on the internet. We find what the people are talking about and give our 2 cents. And this week is no different. Start with the actual, this week's no different. So we're perusing the stand-up board on Reddit and see an interesting headline. This was posted by what?
I'm surprised you don't get this one.
Jar Jar Binks, but it's with the G's. So that messed me up. So I had to like really.
The dyslexia.
Is it Gar Binks
or Jar Jar? The dyslexia in me is just like, oh, it's Jar Jar Binks.
The G's and the J's don't do anything to you, eh? That's
you know what really messes me up?
What?
F's and 5s.
Nuts, really?
Yeah.
So you potentially will say 5 when you mean to say an F?
Yeah, and when I want to write an F, I'll put a 5.
Wow. God damn, bro. Peanuts and letters, eh? There's
peanuts. I'm not allergic to lettuce.
Letters.
Oh, yeah.
Lettuce. Peanuts and lettuce. Anyways, in these comedy screens, we're starting with a really interesting take. This is probably
the #1 show in the comedy universe. I mean, there's nothing bigger in the world of comedy. You're welcome. I've single-handedly changed the landscape of comedy by making it more accessible to people with autism and mental retardation. I'm the #1 thing in comedy, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for me. Give it up for me.
Red band. Veteran Austin comics are starting an anti-Kill Tony show. This should be interesting. So this is an article that was posted on the Reddit board. So we will read the article. I guess I didn't realize there was no commentary on that. We'll read the article here, which is from the Bearded Wire.
Barbed.
Damn, I got dyslexia.
The Bearded Wire.
Damn. This is real time, folks. We're figuring this all out together. I should be on Kill Tony tomorrow. I can't read good.
Thank you, black man. Yeah, black man can't read. What a shock. Oh, what? Oh, red band. Red band.
Move it, do it, go ahead.
All right, so this is posted on the Barbed Wire. Austin's plotting a comedy rebellion. Welcome to the Anti-Kill Tony show. Veteran local comic Duncan Carson wants to prove you can be funny without being a jerk or racist. Dun, dun, dun. For a few years now, the Austin comedy scene has been dominated by a new ecosystem led by Joe Rogan and Tony Hinchcliffe. The city is now nationally known as a haven for their style of say whatever shitty thing you want. It doesn't even need a punchline comedy. For these guys and their disciples who moved here during the pandemic, the slur is the funny part. But that doesn't mean, is this like a gay website? Oh shit. The city is now nationally known for, but that doesn't mean that the old guard, the people who were doing stand-up before 2020, has gone away. And veteran Austin comic Duncan Carson wants to strike back with a new comedy show that's committed to punching up, not just saying crappy things for laughs. They just think, okay, this is in quotes. They just think anybody that laughs is an inherent good. They just think anybody that laughs is an inherent good, he told the Barbed Wire. And I'm like, no, not if it's clan rally, not if it's a Klan rally. Oh my God.
Black man can't read. Women do the glass.
Yo, I didn't turn the monitor as much this week. Shut up.
Yeah, okay.
I'm still doing a pretty good job. Are you serious?
It's a little bit on the angle.
Okay, let me
can't
move.
read words.
Let me move. Let me move and read it now. Watch this, you piece of garbage. Black men shouldn't tear each other like down like this. It's black on black crime. I like to see you read, Mr. Dyslexia.
I can read pretty good, actually. I practice though.
I'm a. You know what?
I knew
it. I knew it. You're a garbage man. I deserve all these things though. Okay. In a defense of Austin's comedy heritage, Carson is launching a new late night show that aims to showcase the city's old school comedy scene, which produced such luminaries as current Saturday Night Live cast member Andrew Dismukes and Devin Walker. If these are who I think they are, you should not be proud of that.
Who are these niggas?
Who are these niggas? Comedy bums. Anyways. The variety show is called Signing Off, a comedy show for the end of the world, and it'll run Fridays at 10 p.m. starting April 4th at the Fallout Theater in Austin. Ooh, they got a theater space. Good for these guys. Hey, more comedy is good regardless. You know what I mean? This is like WWE now. This is like WWE versus WCW. You don't get this reference. Carson is uniquely qualified to run it, having hosted weekly shows in Austin since 2012, including the popular Sure Thing showcase with Brendan K. O'Grady. I think if you counted, I've hosted the most comedy shows in the history of this city. Way to pat yourself on the back there, weirdo. Carson said, and I mean, to be fair, Tony's also doing the same thing. So this is like anti-Tony. Great. That's what we need.
Well, he said it's anti-kill Tony.
But he's just going to be Tony for anti-kill Tony? Like, he's going to now say,
don't know what the format.
Nobody's ever done more than me in this city. It also just, I don't know, this reeks of pretentious bullshit. But, whatever. I'm not in the scene. I think if you've, let me read it like this. I think if you've counted, I've hosted the most comedy shows in the history of the city, Carson said. And maybe that means I never got famous, but it also means I never sold my soul. I hate when they when you start mishmashing these sentiments together, because I feel successful. You know what I mean? I don't know. Is he saying because he doesn't have the level of Kill Tony success, he hasn't sold? I don't know. I don't really, whatever. Let him feel how he feels about that one. Carson, who moved to Austin in 2011 from Milwaukee, reminisces about the time when the local comedy community was a golden era of smart stand-up. He likened it to an eternal summer camp, a tight-knit group of performers who maintained reasonably high artistic standards. Venues like Cap City and the Velveeta Room played critical roles in I heard about the Velveeta Room. I heard really good things about developing local talent, creating an environment where smart comedy thrived. What are we gatekeeping here exactly? You know what I mean?
Well, I think what he's gatekeeping is like it says the reasonably high artistic standards. That's what they're gatekeeping.
I respect that. I can't say what I say about people like Josh Johnson and then not agree with that sentiment, because I think that's like low hanging fruit, whatever the hell he's doing. But at the same time, I don't know about just being like not letting comics perform here if they're Kill Tony guys or something. Like that doesn't make sense to me either.
I didn't get that from this.
Yeah, I would imagine. I would imagine also a lot of the Kill Tony people won't even ever show up to this.
It depends because there are some people that might try and get on Kill Tony that they're actually good comedians and they might be smart comedians or whatever.
Yeah, but what is that to say? I don't think there's all dumb comedians on Kill Tony. I think that's a generalized statement.
Yeah.
Or sentiment towards Kill Tony. As dumb as Kill Tony leans towards, I've seen a lot of really great comedy on Kill Tony.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't think they're gatekeeping exactly. I think Tony really loves wrestling and emulates Vince McMahon and WrestleMania in comedy form. If you look at how Kill Tony is formatted, it's very much, you could see the formula. You know what I mean? He has his regular cast. He has like his megastars, his Hulk Hogan's, his John Cena's, his da 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 da. You know what I mean?
Okay.
He has like his top guys in each division, in each class. He has his top black guy. He has his top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like everything else in between is a shit show, but it's not like he doesn't say stay away. It's not like he's saying stay away if you're quote unquote a good comedian. He's just attracting pure sideshow stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's all he's doing. He's just attracting people that it's getting bigger and bigger. So obviously it's going to appeal to more just mainstream casual comics. You see more and more people who are like, this is my first set, or I've been doing it for 6 times.
Yeah.
But that's not a representation to me. I don't look at that and be like, all of Austin comedy is that. I look at that and be like, the Kill Tony scene is bonkers.
Yeah.
And they're attracting a lot of autism.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't necessarily think now, Kill Tony is only that, although obviously it's a circus. But you get everything at the circus. You don't just get clowns. You get like the friggin' mimes and like you get like the serious artists too, just as much as, you know what I mean? The trapeze artists and the friggin', you get everything. Whereas, you know, that sounds like a walled garden thing. Like what they're trying to build. It sounds to me like a walled garden, but at the same time, that's not my scene.
The way I'm perceiving it, it's not. I don't see it as a walled garden. I'm perceiving it as we're opening another venue.
Yeah, but then
another space.
No. Then why brand it this way? They're branding it as the anti-Kill Tony show.
Yeah, but I don't see that as walled garden.
Well, you're creating. That's an immediate image you're putting in someone's mind. They're like, okay, so everything that I know Kill Tony to be, which is absurd and nonsense, and yeah, sure, people say it's racist and all, like all those things. Mm-hmm. They're like, we're going anti, which is just like what you're gonna go all highbrow, like
I don't know,
you know, like, but what are you doing to regulate this? How are you gonna stop the people that show up on a Monday to sign up for Kill Tony to stop coming to your show and sign up? Are you gonna tell them no? Because you signed up for Kill Tony?
But I don't know. We don't know what their
this
format of the show is going to be. This sounds a little like, this is what I'm saying. Like, it could just be a book show, right? And if it's a book show, you're going to be in the scene. You're going to see who's...
Then that to me is not the I don't know. When you're saying anti-Kill Tony, that to me says you're running that show, but
a Kill Tony format.
With standards, quote unquote, let's say.
Well, maybe they'll see what kind of format it is, because we still don't know what the format is.
Okay, Carson, who moved to Austin from Milwaukee, reminisces about a time when the local comedy community was a golden era of smart stand-up. He likened it to an eternal summer camp, a tight-knit group of performers who maintained reasonably high artistic standards, venues like Cap City, da-da-da-da. And while the scene wasn't perfect by any means, its informal gatekeepers, club bookers, experienced comics, and discerning audiences would usually marginalize comedians who relied on cheap, dumb jokes. Tell a bunch of racist jokes. Oops, look like you're last on the list. Again, hacks eventually got the message. We all self-policed it to a degree, Carson said. That sounds like some walled garden shit. Like, I don't know. I think funny is funny. Now, obviously, there's a line. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to friggin', if you're producing a show, you are well within your right to friggin' be like, okay, we don't want this type of energy at our show. Like what I don't know how big the scene was. This sounds like it was a self-regulating, healthy scene. It kind of, it's weird, bro, because I'm not there, so I can't interject like I'm actually part of the scene. I don't know exactly how this is all playing out, how it did play out. Yeah, usually bad comics, like it makes sense what they're saying. Bad comics will eventually just, it's not even get the message. It's just you don't get booked. You know, like, or that's even hard to say because a lot of bad comics get booked. It's just like friend groups and all this stuff. That's when you go and just create your own show. You know, like the bad comics will go off and group on into their own little thing and then just create their own bad ecosystem. Although as a longtime Austin comic myself, I'd add that there were still plenty of offensive jokes flying around back in the day, but they were generally told by someone with an IQ higher than room temperature water. Sadly, the pandemic and the arrival of Rogan and his resulting constellation of clubs and shows greatly changed this landscape. Carson argues that the new wave of comics has created an ecosystem that rewards offensive material, giving previously unsustainable comedic approaches a platform and financial incentive. It's like Fox News set up camp down the street, Carson said, where comics once had to be clever and thoughtful to succeed. Now shock value and controversy can be monetized. And he's right. What's more, while the Rogan sphere is popular, they're not actually very good at being funny. Rogan's last special on Netflix tanked, with one critic calling it a tired and unfunny tirade. Tony Hinchcliffe bombed with racist jokes at the Republican convention, which should be easier than spotting a lifted truck at a Buc-ee's. Hey, shout out to Buc-ee's. Hey. Hinchcliffe's first Netflix special was so bad that he removed it from the internet, but that didn't stop the streaming service from getting in bed with him again. So what are you left with? A bunch of middle-aged dudes spouting worn-out cliches at an audience who drove in from the suburbs to lap it up. That's what Austin comedy is known for these days. Carson wants to remind the audiences that comedy can be more, and it can be funny. I don't want comedy that's like preachy or always has to support social progress or something, he said. Just don't be a monster. Like, it's so obvious. It's very easy to be funny without being mean, Carson said. Comedy is inherently political, and I'm tired of us acting like it's not. By integrating music, a podcast recording, as well as stand-up, Carson hopes to remind audiences of Austin's comedic roots, which stretch back decades, not just a few years. The show's head writer, Okay, that's enough of this. The more I read it, I get it. And it's a natural byproduct. I'm even hearing myself speak. I agree with more than I disagree with. It's just some of the things he said lead me to believe that there's some ego at play here. And at the same time, like, I don't know. Like, Rogan's audience is Rogan's audience. And they've brought so much audience that there's actually spillover.
Yes.
So I think concentrating on some of that spillover, all the new comedy, all the new eyes on comedy in Austin. Yeah, give them something different.
Yeah.
And then let the people decide. But it's also a weird approach. Like, is he just trying to get clout for the show by being like, this is anti-Kill Tony? Could he not have promoted it without doing all this? I wonder. Like, is he just trying to gain recognition? Like, he had an article written and all this stuff?
Well, yeah, because here's the thing, right? Because we never heard of this guy till the article.
Correct. And I'm assuming some people will find out about the show because of this.
Yeah.
So again, only some of the things he said, the way he said it, it was in quotes too. So I'm like, is he speaking from like a place of true like righteousness and wanting to right some wrongs, or is he just seeing an opening and trying to take advantage? It's like, okay, well, there's a lot of people saying what he's saying, and they're not wrong. Like, I'm trying to play devil's advocate, but honestly, Kill Tony is 90% trash, bad comedy. And yeah, I couldn't make it more than 5 minutes into Joe's last special. I have seen Tony Hinchcliffe live, and I will not ever again. You know what I mean? And, even the racial stuff, I kind of agree with, because if you look at the regulars that Kill Tony picks, like if you look at his cast and crew, he's very specific with who he gets to represent the group that they're in. Like Cam, you know what I mean? I love Cam, and he's absolutely hysterical and stuff, but like did you see the episode where Cam had grills?
No.
Cam showed up and he was a panelist for an episode. It was like a couple months ago, and he had grills in, and he just literally he just showed up, and throughout the episode, he sounded and looked like a typical, stereotypical dumb street nigga with grills in, and he couldn't even because the grills were keeping him from speaking. And then this black guy got pulled from the bucket. Normal dressed black guy, normal speaking black guy, told jokes that were actually articulate.
Well, do you remember his name or not?
Don't remember.
Dang.
This was months ago. I just remember that this is so obvious that I talked about it with a homie of mine from Austin. It was so obvious. You first noticed Cam was like, visibly, he's like, oh, because the guy destroyed. His set from beginning to end was just clean, nothing lowbrow, nothing, yo, nigga, yo, like none of the stereotypical shit, which again, Cam is Cam, and like, I love Cam, you know what I mean? So, and he's like 3 to 4 years into comedy. So when he actually really starts refining that, which he's doing in real time, which is why but like, he took the grills out. You know what I mean? And he started talking like he's like that because Tony was starting to big up that guy, and it almost looked like he was about to get a golden ticket.
Oh, he's about to lose a spot,
and that's what it looked like. And there was a bunch of comments of being like, Cam should have to fight for his spot the way that Hans did.
Yeah.
Then that guy shows up, and it like that exposed to me just how much like he really does play up all the stereotypes.
Yeah. I think it'd be sick if you had to like when he was doing like Hans, you had a bad set, next week you're fighting for your spot. All the regulars should be like that.
That should be like that.
You know?
But
don't just bring another black guy to replace a black guy.
And he's definitely, even look at like Kensei.
Kensei,
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, did you notice, like, Kensei was hysterical, had amazing sets. But did you notice the interview and like how they were talking to him? Oh, Haro. Oh, you're a Japanese man. And it's because Kensei talks like that.
Yes.
Like that obviously fed into them loving him so much more. It's like if you lean into, I've noticed if you lean into your stereotype, Tony loves it, which lets you know exactly the type of humor and so like, you know, the anti-Kill Tony sentiment, I completely get. And let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
It does look, you know, there's a lot of not morality questions, but there's a lot of questions that you can ask. It's like, what's your true motivation here?
Yeah.
Are you actually trying to create a healthy environment, or are you just seeing an opening and being like, well, because there's so many more comedy fans here, let's you know, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think of the whole Rogan sphere and all these guys?
In what way? Like,
are they good? Do you see? Do you understand? Do you think there is a need for something like this? You were there. We went to Austin.
Yeah. No, I think more competition is good.
Of course.
In all aspects. Right. So, if you're thinking, okay, the level is declining, which I felt like I noticed, like we noticed it when we were there.
Yeah.
Like the level of comedy is not the highest level. That's also because it's a bunch of newer comedians. Right? It's a bunch of newer comedians that only got into it because of Kill Tony. Right? So that's their style. That's how they came in. Right?
Yeah.
But if they really want to become a good comedian, having places where it's like, okay, well, that weak stuff's not gonna fly. It's not gonna fly. That's a good, I feel like.
But how many of those people that are trying to get on Kill Tony, again, are even real comics and even care enough to do that? You know?
Yeah.
I feel like most of them.
Yeah, but
I watch it week to week, bro. These guys have autism and they're not comedians.
But the ones that do, they will get better.
Yeah.
Or
stay back. No, I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying I wonder how many of this spillover of these guys that are trying to get pulled on the bucket. Mm-hmm. Like, this is what I'm saying. Most of them aren't comics. They're just trying to get on Kill Tony and get like notoriety and get clout.
Yeah. Okay.
And Tony knows this, obviously.
There's that, but I also see like.
But for the ones that do, obviously, like even us, we showed up to Kill Tony.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we would have tried to get on the other show too, because we're actually comics.
Yeah. But okay, so I would have put myself in that category of I was doing it under 3 years and I still signed up for Kill Tony. And I'm not that strong of a comedian yet. I'd put myself in that category.
Yeah.
But I'm not
But you're actually taking comedy seriously.
The point I was going to make is my comedy doesn't stem from the Killed Tony stuff. I was interested in comedy way before all that.
Correct.
Right? Like I was watching other people and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So my comedy is not going to be limited to what you kind of see on Killed Tony or what influences you, because those are my influences.
Yeah. True.
So I feel like, you know, I just think them having another room, more competition, the people that want to do good, they'll go there and try and get better. And I think it's overall positive for the scene.
Again, it's also important for people that are established to speak out, because this is like an open air secret now. It's like everybody knows Kill Tony's kind of like, even Tony's acknowledging it more and more. You see, you haven't been watching as much, but Tony's acknowledging it on mic, how people are saying they're ruining comedy. Like he'll throw jabs at people here and there.
Oh, okay.
He threw the jabs at Jeselnik, which we should actually pull up that Jeselnik quote.
We're at 50 minutes.
Yeah, I know. We're not doing UFC. Sorry, buddy.
What?
Yeah, we're not.
But your boy's fighting.
It's okay. It's too late anyways. We were supposed to do it last week.
But I just want to at least see the card because I haven't looked at it this whole time.
Oh, man.
Anyways, Jeselnik said what?
Jeselnik says what we all think about Hinchcliffe. When I meet him again in late October, he is gleeful at the prospect that the Madison Square Garden Trump rally, where Tony Hinchcliffe joked about Puerto Rico being a floating island of garbage, might be the end of Hinchcliffe's career. He thought the Brady roast was his big moment, even though I think those jokes were hack as hell. When I ask him later how he's thinking about comedy after Trump's election win, he says that his job is the same whether it's raining or shining. Everything is an opportunity. His opinion of Hinchcliffe remains unchanged. He is a troll, basking in the shadow of Joe Rogan. He has no patience for displays of vulnerability or intimate disclosure either. The Edinburgh-style one-person show that reveals a traumatic backstory. There's no comedian who tells me what their life is like where I give even the slightest semblance of a I do not care. You're wasting time. I get that there are people who are interested in this, but it's not what I wanted to do. I have an hour up there. I want to pack that hour in with pure ingenuity and brilliance, he says. So that was Jeselnik on Hinchcliffe and essentially the crew. Mm-hmm. It's hard to dispute that. And like, this is where I, especially as of late, like these last few weeks, you really see me pushing back again on like this whole clout era of comedy and people not really being comics and just wanting to get fame and notoriety and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, to me, that is Hinchcliffe and crew. They're not the most talented, but they're the most known, and that's how this game works. It's people that are willing to play the game. The game isn't promoting talent. It's promoting who wants to play the game. Mm-hmm. And there's way more people that have way less talent that want to play the game, whereas I think the people that care about the craft don't care about the game. They care about the craft.
Yeah.
Jeselnik being one of them. But he's a guy that also made it through just the craft. It's harder now than when Jeselnik was coming up because social media. Now, the game is actually like 30 games. The game before was just like a Hollywood trajectory. If you really wanted to be known, even you could just be a comic, mm-hmm. but you had to go through certain channels. Now it's like, just put yourself out there. And because we're competing with people that are willing to put themselves out there 24/7 doing buffoonery shit, guess what that does? Devalues everything. Now you're literally competing with buffoons that will be there 24/7, devaluing the art that you care about and are not willing to be out there like a buffoon every 5 minutes. But then the perception then becomes you're not out there as much, or you're not as good, or you're not, like, people really perceive Joe Rogan's on Netflix, Joe Rogan's on Spotify, which means he's the elite, he's the best, mm-hmm. which I think everybody will make the argument that Joe Rogan podcast is nowhere near what it was before it blew up. What a shock that this typically is the cycle of things. The thing is organic and sees organic growth and builds an organic following with people that really are attracted to the authenticity of the thing. Then the thing is injected with money and sponsorships and ads, and all of a sudden continues to balloon until it's a mainstream thing. And once you're mainstream, It's very hard to maintain the authenticity. There's very few people I've seen throughout my lifetime do it. And the ones that do it are the ones that don't do interviews every 5 seconds. Do you see Chappelle every 5 minutes anywhere? He doesn't post on Instagram, on socials. Forget about even comedians. George Clooney as an actor. This guy's still considered like the peak of actors. You never hear about this guy. No interviews, no nothing. Disappears. Shows up, does gangbuster movies if you're a fan of his, that people seem to like them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then just bounces. Like, to me, that's art. For me, in rap, Nipsey Hussle. This nigga was in the shadows, showed up, delivered immaculate work, and he didn't feel the need to do all the buffoonery shit. You know what I mean? Like, there's examples of it. There was another post that kind of feeds into this. This was on r/stand-up, also posted by Usual Welcome 5662. Does anyone else also think that Joe Rogan and his friends are really bad at stand-up comedy? Let me elaborate. So my new job keeps me on the road for long periods of time, and among other things, I tune into are the comedy channels on SiriusXM. Recently, I've tried Joe Rogan and Friends, Ari Shaffir, Tom Segura, Bert Kreischer, Tony Hinchcliffe, Joey Diaz, Brendan Schaub, Brian Callahan. Like
Brian Callahan. Why do you say it like
Brian Callen? Yeah, I don't know why.
There's a little zest spilled out.
And
Brian Callahan.
And those guys are unfunny. Last night they have a whole Shaffir presentation, and I don't recall laughing at any of his jokes. Granted, Sirius doesn't have whole gigs, but just extracts. I guess Cat Williams was also right about this when he went on Shannon's podcast. Most people don't find Joe Rogan funny. Most people know him and enjoy him on the podcast.
I'll say this. I'm not going to say they're really bad at stand-up, because I've seen really bad stand-up. They're not the greatest.
Yeah.
But they're not really bad.
Yeah, that will come more down to preference and stuff. I won't give them zeros.
Yeah.
But I would never pay to go see them live. Any of these guys. Yeah, let's see. Ari, definitely not. Tom, definitely not. Bert, definitely not. Tony, definitely not. Joey Diaz, I would see Joey, but not like I wouldn't pay more than like $50 to see Joey. Brendan Schaub, I would kill myself. Brian Callen, I would kill Brendan Schaub. I'll kill you, bro. Who you think you are, bro? Brendan Schaub, if he sees this clip. Look at that scrawny pipsqueak. I'll pop his head off like a yo, bro, get off the testosterone, dog. It's okay. It's not that serious. Brendan Schaub. Ugh. Yeah, none of those guys, but like, I don't know. Again, to me, most of the mainstream people aren't funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I'll also say this too.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's devil's advocate, but I've never seen these guys aside from Hinchcliffe, but like we never live in a club, not an arena, and like, no cameras, no guy. Nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Tony's the only guy we saw.
Yeah. But I was still at the Mothership. But I mean, like,
and it was awful.
Yeah, and there was a bunch of excuses. But
it was not, dude. How crazy was that? Let's talk about it, bro. Tony comes out to the friggin' Imperial March, the Darth Vader theme, some dubstep version of Darth Vader's theme.
I forgot that we even saw him till you just brought it up today.
Yeah, that's how
I still remember seeing Holtzman because that was hilarious.
That was an experience. I felt like a ride at Disneyland.
That was so
Tony
fun.
Hinchcliffe felt like standing in line for your money back. Like, he comes out and he does his little thing he does on Kill Tony where he just points at the audience like he's God.
In slow motion.
And then literally he did crowd work for the first 15, 20 minutes. Then he spent the next 5 minutes telling people who weren't laughing, he's like, this is a Thursday show, folks. You're not getting my weekend material. I'm sorry. And then he just kept doing crowd work tepidly. And then he did like one or two jokes and they absolutely went nowhere. And there's no setup structure. There's no structure. There's ego. It is Tony ego.
Yeah.
And I know I'll never get on Kill Tony now, but like it is what it is. I don't think. And if I do, it'll be fun to have this conversation.
Well, you can also get on the anti-Kill Tony show.
We're going back to Austin, ladies and gentlemen. Da-da-da.
Hey, it's Hen Dog.
Black Zeus, the podcast, season 6. featuring Black Zeus and Dante, aka Black Zeus on YouTube, Patreon, and Instagram.